What's up, everybody? I'm JC.
I'm Brittany.
And you're listening to
Just Breathing Home Edition.
Yes! We are back! So it's been a week that we haven't done a podcast, and it was nice.
It was weird.
It was weird, right?
I missed it. I missed the home edition one, actually.
Yeah, I do miss the home edition one. Just sitting down and being able to just talk about what's going on in life, what's going on in our home, what's going on in our world that affects our home, all that good stuff. We're coming out of the Easter Holy Week season right now. And I just have to say, at the start of this podcast, I was just scrolling through social media and I like Easter. I really like Easter. I think we should do Easter like all the time.
Why? Was it all positive?
It was all positive.
I haven't touched social media today.
Wow, that's not anything out of the usual for you.
That's true.
But no, it was so cool because just like everything was either some type of reference to the resurrection. It was some family photo. It was cool. A photo of, everybody dressed up. It was a photo of, it was just it was fun stuff. It was Easter egg hunts. It was just bright colors.
Yeah.
Easter has like the best color scheme out of all the holidays.
It's true.
Christmas, you got red and green, my favorite colors, but kind of boring.
Well, they're not as happy and cheery.
But Easter, you got pink and purple and yellow and white and just all of these positive colors. I loved it. Why can't we just do this all the time? I like dread tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I just dread the back to normal that we always go when these types of holidays are over. And I'm just like, guys, we can do it.
Yeah,
we can do it.
And be just positive.
And it's so cool because you don't always get to see everyone's family in one place. You don't get to get everybody together for a picture. So it's such a cool time to like catch up.
Yeah.
On people. I love going through and being like, oh, look how big that baby's gotten.
Yeah.
Oh, look. Wow, those kids have grown so much.
Yeah.
Wow, I haven't seen this married couple for like a year. All I've seen is like political posts.
Right.
But now I get to see them like smiling and still alive and doing well.
Yeah.
But we get these like perceptions of how the world is. And then we have these days that allow us time to breathe and time to reflect and time to think about something else. And what's amazing to me is we're able to do it. We're able to completely shift into this positive mind frame that allows us to celebrate things that actually are important to us. For people that have faith, it's a time for people to celebrate the most important day, in Christian history, the day that Jesus rose from the dead.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're a Christian or not. I know there was a ton of pictures of people celebrating Easter that have no faith, but it's such a beautiful time because the kids are the focus. We love just investing time into our kids and they were asking us on the way home tonight. They were like, why do we look for Easter eggs on Easter? I have no idea. I don't even know why the Easter Bunny exists. I have no clue.
Yeah.
But who cares?
Yeah.
Was it fun? And they're like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I love this time because our priorities seem to align for, maybe just a weekend, maybe a week, but we're capable of this. And I think that's really what just stuck out to me today is is just the capability of humans to shift away from all of the negativity that is so a cycle that we just get into. And when we're allowed a time to deviate, we do it happily.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We completely go all in. We get dressed up in these outfits. I wore a tie today. I mean, it was big time. It was big time. So yeah, I love it. Just the time that we spent with family was excellent. The time that we got to we spent hours.
It was a long time.
It was a long time. It was a long time. Not everybody has family they want to spend that much time with. I get it. I get it. There are days that I don't want to spend that much time with family.
Yeah.
But there's something, again, about the day and what its meaning is and how that meaning is such a positive, celebratory idea can shift our focus to the positive. And I'm harping on this because I hope that we can discipline ourselves to making those moments in daily life. Like, I'm joking about why can't we just do Easter every day, but I'm kind of not.
Yeah.
I'm kind of really about this.
Can we bring
ability.
that same attitude? Yeah,
can we
every
come
day?
to the day with this attitude? Like, I'm not going to be distracted by the negativity today. I'm not going to be distracted by what other people's desire for me to be pulled to is. You know, I chose before I got up, maybe the night before I woke up, I'm going to be positive this day.
Yeah.
And I'm going to celebrate my kids. I'm going to celebrate family. I'm going to celebrate, my faith. I'm going to celebrate all of these things that are going to shift my focus into a positive mindset.
Yeah.
I think that's perfectly.
Well, that's just having your priorities straight.
Yeah.
Which I think we always need reminders with that. I mean, I know I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been thinking lately about how, like, I want to rearrange, I guess I would say, priorities in my head, because, like, I know what they are, but sometimes I don't live that way, if that makes sense. Like, if someone were to ask me, like, what's most important, I'd be able to give them the right answer,
right,
that I want to be true. But then if I look at my life and the way I spend my time and what makes me upset and all this, I can see that it doesn't actually align quite right.
Right.
So, but yeah, I think these types of days are good reminders of what's really important and what we should what we should get upset about and not upset about, and where we should focus our time and our energy.
And that's it. Yeah. It's reminders. And it's for this day, and we're recording this on Easter. People are confused. Watch this later down the road. It's a day that was set aside for these reminders. I mean, the entire purpose, I don't know if Jesus rose from the dead on April 4th. I have no idea. I don't know it historically. They speculate on the time that it was and all this stuff, but it doesn't really matter what the day is. It matters what happened. And if you're able to remember what happened, and that's every holiday, it's a day to remember. And man, if we could do that on a daily basis, how powerful would that be for our daily living?
Yeah.
I mean, what would it shift? What would it, how would we prioritize differently if those reminders were in place? If we woke up remembering instead of waking up wondering.
Yeah.
I mean, that's actually a huge part of discipline. Like, when you discipline your life, let's say with exercise, you're not wondering if you're going to get healthy physically. You already made the decision and are already acting on it.
Yeah.
So it happens.
Yeah.
So if we remind ourselves, I want to be positive in the way that I want to focus on my kids. Let's just take it to something practical. you can make that decision and discipline yourself to care about your kids.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that you neglect your kids
Right.
every other day of the year unless you make this decision. But what if you prioritized quality time with them?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were just talking about the other day how one of our kids really values quality time. And we've talked in the past about love languages, and quality time is a love language.
Mm-hmm.
This is how our son gets filled with love,
Mm-hmm.
is by spending quality time with him.
Yeah.
And we can make those decisions before the day even begins.
Yes.
And then when we make those decisions, guess what? It usually happens.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And if you don't make those decisions, it probably won't.
Right. And that's so true.
And that's just I've been thinking about that today. I'm just loving the positivity, and I'm loving the family focus, and I'm loving the bright colors. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
I'm loving it. And I just want to put that out there and just and say, what do you need to prioritize in your life to maintain this?
Yeah.
Let's not lose the focus. Let's not lose the positivity. You can use opportunities like this and capitalize on them.
Right.
And make them part of your future.
Right.
You know, so many times we're through distraction, through a negative instance that is coming. You know, like it or not, something negative is going to happen in your life. Positive, you know. No, but if you've already chosen that this negativity that's going to come into my life is not going to dominate me today.
Yeah.
If you already made that decision, it will have so much less of an effect on your psyche.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it will not be able to hold you. It might hurt. It might take time. It might really hold your focus for a period. Sometimes maybe it should.
Yeah.
But it won't dominate you. It won't hold you there for your future.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and
you're not living at the whims of what comes at you.
No, you're not living. And I think that word whims is such a definition for a lot of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
So many people are living in the whims of life, in the winds and waves, and just kind of being tossed here and tossed there and back and forth. And it's just like Pong, you know, for life.
Yeah.
And we're just constantly smashing our head on these walls that keep getting placed in front of us, and we just can't seem to break free of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just so necessary that we make decisions. And I hope this Easter weekend, I hope any holiday that is allowing you to get away from distractions is an opportunity to reset, is an opportunity to put into practice some of the things that maybe you're learn from these times.
Right.
Make decisions after these times or during them.
Yeah.
Make some decisions now. I know personally in my life, I want to make some decisions tonight before I go to bed that are going to affect my future tomorrow.
Right.
And that's really all you need to look forward to.
Right.
Tomorrow.
Right.
You don't have to look forward 10 years from now. That's way too hard.
That's so comforting. I love it when you say that, because that's a good reminder too. I think certain personalities, or I know at least mine, like I feel like, you know, I take things on like whole life changes. Yeah. I'm like, okay, we're making this decision for the rest of my life. Yes. And like, then we get overwhelmed, and then we're like, well, maybe we can't. Maybe we can't do that. But if we're just like, just calm down and just be like, tomorrow, we want to get better at this tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then you just keep getting better and better, and hopefully it becomes habit, whatever it is you're working on.
Well, go back to the physical for a second. I've been working out for a while now, and I'm seeing results, but I didn't see those results 5 months ago, 2 months ago, 1 month ago. I'm seeing the results now.
Yeah.
But there are results that happened, I don't know when I started working out more, but like those results were happening then.
Yeah.
But I just had a focus of, I'm just going to wake up tomorrow and try again.
Yeah.
I'm just going to wake up tomorrow and try again.
Yeah.
And not even try. I did it.
Yeah.
I woke up and I did it the next day. And yeah, if we can kind of suspend the immediacy of results too, maybe we have been neglecting our children, to not in a way that is harmful to them, but just in a way that's not going to allow them to flourish.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is the day that you wake up and you say, I'm going to start investing this or that or this action or this time or this whatever to go towards flourishing. And then a year from now, hopefully, we'll be able to start to see the signs of flourishing.
Yeah.
But suspend the need to see that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just do the action tomorrow and suspend the need to see the results. That's something I've struggled with. And honestly, like with going back to the physical, I wanted to see the results in the beginning tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't, because there's so many things involved. Your body takes time to change. Your health takes time to change. Your children take time to change. We're slow beings. And everything that we do is a process, and it's a long process. And in this culture of immediacy, where we want to see results, we want to see transformation, change, whatever it is, it's discouraging. It's really disheartening to wake up and to feel sore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't see much results in my body. I hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that time that you invest into your children's flourishing, and then you wake up the next day and they have the worst attitude ever. I'm spitting. That's disheartening. That's super disheartening. But you have to know that those results aren't tomorrow.
Yeah.
Those results are something that you only can see in retrospect.
Yeah.
And that's hard. That's hard. I don't really know a way to. Is there anything in your life that you've really been able to look back on and see the results later on?
I mean, going in a little bit of a different direction, but it would answer your question. Like the first thing that comes to mind is just the way that I actually used to just think about things, like I guess in my mind. Like I've trained through the grace of God and his word, I've trained my mind to think a certain way in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Like I used to have negative thoughts that would circle around and around and around. And I, through God's help, trained myself to correct those negative ways of thinking, those negative paths. And so now I'm just a much healthier person from it. I can look back and say, whoa.
How did you start that?
I mean, that was started, well, God first kind of pointed that out to me at one specific moment. And then from that moment on, I just started digging into his word and in prayer. And I would basically pray through and just tell God all of these thoughts that I had, and like, would just be like, well, here it is. Yeah. Like, show me what you say about it.
Yeah.
And so then, and he would show me through his word, because I was reading it consistently every day, and he would show me what he thought. And I remember I had this little booklet, and I wrote down all these scriptures. And so I would go back whenever I had those thoughts, I would say, nope. And I would pray about it, cry about it if I had to, and I would go back to the word and I would say, this is what's true.
Yeah.
And I just did that. I did that I still do that. I mean, we're always going to be doing that, but I can look back and years.
Yeah.
And I can see that I don't do that anymore. And when I start to go into that, I know right away, and I just stop, do it again.
Yeah.
So that's something that takes time, and you just, like you were saying, you just do it. You just have to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And you just don't give up.
And it's something that you have to continue for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I think that's a hard truth that a lot of people, I don't know if they struggle with it, but they just don't want to. I think everyone knows that.
Mm-hmm.
Like with mental things, breaking a mental cycle it doesn't go away.
Right.
You can keep it at bay for longer.
Mm-hmm.
And you can learn the signs and you can be more aware like you were at the beginning. I think that's a really important point, is that you were aware.
I wasn't actually aware that I was making a process in it.
No. But I mean,
until
going
now.
back, like the first stage was your being made aware
Yes.
that you had this negative mindset that you would just keep circling back to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's negativity in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it draws you back in. It's so intoxicating.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I love negativity.
Mm-hmm. It's very easy.
It's very easy. It's very easy, and it's very accepting of you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
A positive you is difficult because
well, it's just unnatural.
No,
it feels unnatural.
I think it completely is.
Yeah.
I think the good life, the positive person, I think there's so many books and seminars and YouTube videos on positivity because of that fact.
Mm-hmm.
It is way easier to be negative because you can just discount things, you can throw out people, you can box things up. You can put things into boxes even though they're nuanced and things that you really need to unpack.
Right.
But it's so much easier to just put them away and say, I understand it as such.
Right.
But you were made aware of that. And that's such a necessary first point of contact.
Yeah.
If you can be aware of something in your life, you are far ahead of a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Don't lose that awareness.
Yeah.
Make sure that you focused in then on that awareness, and then you spoke it.
Yeah.
And in your case, because of your faith, you have a heavenly Father that you speak these things to.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing when people go to a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing when people go to their best friend and they speak these things to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important because now you're not alone.
Yeah. It is important to speak it out.
Yeah. And you're speaking about it right now. You're getting it out there to more people to know that you have this negativity that you cycled in for a while. And that is so liberating because negativity also draws us more inward.
Yes,
always.
Yes, it does.
That's why, suicide is on the rise like crazy right now. And it is so inward. All the things going on in the people's hearts and the people's minds, they've closed themselves off from their families, their friends, their coworkers, their classmates, wherever they're at in life, their parents. They've closed themselves off to just be comforted by this negativity that they are holding on to.
Yeah.
And negativity is also extremely good at blinding you, blinding your awareness.
Yeah.
And I just think this is such an important point. Don't, what's right? What do I want to say? Don't just move on when you're made aware of something.
Yeah.
Make sure that you rest in that and you think more about it and you say, is this something that I need to focus on?
Yeah.
Even if you're made aware of a positive thing, focusing on that is great too.
Yeah.
Awareness is such an amazing tool for us to move forward in life. It is the first stage. So I think it's beautiful how you see it so clearly. I was made aware of this. I spoke it to somebody. And after that, I came up with a battle plan of how I was going to deal with this.
Yeah.
What are my trigger points? What things do I need to avoid? What things do I need to include into my life to make sure that this negativity stays at bay?
Yeah. Yep.
Because that's your natural impulse. And it might be nature, it might be nurture, I don't know, but that's where your mind wants to go. And I think it's interesting. I heard this the other day and it really stuck out to me. Minds are something that aren't really talked about enough as being something that we can work out.
Yeah.
Your mind is a muscle. Your mind is something that you can.
Oh yeah. You most definitely can train your mind.
Yeah. Yeah. But for some reason it's not talked about. It's highly prescribed. We kind of go to those quick and immediate fixes.
Yeah.
To help us sort of squash the things that we should just be made aware of to deal with.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not talking about chemical imbalances. I'm talking about mental patterns. Mental patterns aren't the same thing as a chemical makeup.
Right.
That's a whole nother issue.
And I don't know anything about that either.
No, I'm not a doctor. I don't know anything about that, but I know that it's real.
Yeah.
I know that some people chemically it can affect their minds in a way that only certain prescriptions can balance so that they can train their minds.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of times that's not talked about though, which is kind of sad. You kind of get the drug and then there's not a lot of training.
Right.
There's not a lot of physical therapy for your mind.
Yeah.
And that's a really interesting thing to me. I wish we would do that more.
Yeah, I never thought about that. That's a good point, though. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something that
I think that would be healthy. Yeah, I think we'd have to get rid of a lot of stuff too. I have a lot of opinions on that, but
well, go ahead. What do you think?
I just recently I've been thinking about, are just the things that we read and the things that we watch and the things that are so normalized in our culture. And I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I'm concerned because our minds are very used to those things. And I don't think all those things are healthy.
Yeah.
And if you talk about training your mind, the more you look at and the more you see that is the same. And if it's something violent or something sexualized or whatever it is, and you're looking at it all the time and you're thinking about it all the time and your friends are talking about it all the time.
Yeah.
Well, where's your mind going to be?
Right.
In those things. And those things are going to become more normal, maybe desired. And then what you think about and what you want is you're going to want to do.
Right.
And I think it's a really bad cycle.
It totally is a bad cycle. No, because to go along that same point, let's take porn for, we talk about that plenty on this podcast, but I think it's necessary, especially for a home edition, because porn is one of the driving factors for divorces. Porn is one of the driving factors for a lot of things within the home. And I'm not just talking about marriage. I'm talking about kids being exposed to porn. Studies are coming out now and they're kind of being suppressed, which is interesting. But there's a lot of studies that show that males are unable to produce as much testosterone because of the extent of porn being watched right now.
No, I can totally see that.
So this is a very physical manifestation of a negative cycle, because they're in these worlds that you know, it's not real. The sexual acts and the sexual things that they're viewing, one, aren't reality. So it's messing them up for their future marriages. But a lot of them aren't pursuing marriages because of a lack of drive, sexual drive to engage with real partners.
Yeah.
They have plenty of partners on these digital platforms in these videos and things like that. And it's affecting the rate at which men pursue sex from real people.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting, I'm not an expert in any of this stuff. I'm just spouting basically the summary,
yeah,
of a lot of these studies that are real studies. You can go look them up. But it's very interesting because, like you're saying, it's a negative cycle that we get trapped in. And porn is it's for a lot of people, especially people of faith that get into it. There's so much shame on the guy's part or the girls. There's a lot of girls, sadly, that watch porn. But for the guys, especially, there's so much shame that goes into viewing porn that, again,
brings you inward.
It brings you inward. You're going to close up. You're not going to tell anybody about it, even if you become aware, because shame is good if it makes you aware of something negative in your life. Yeah. Shame is useful. Stress is useful. There are a lot, anxiety is useful. It points to things if you desire to be aware.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's hard. It's hard. So, like I said, the shame comes in, they go inward, they don't talk to people about it. And now they're just sitting in this negative cycle, like you talked about.
And their thing that they're ashamed about is probably not going to get better then. It's just going to get worse.
Well, the only path when you decide to sit in your negativity is to be more negative. People in religious circles talk about this with kind of faith journeys. There is no mediocre pursuit of your faith.
That's a good point.
And I think this goes for all faiths. There's no mediocre, just kind of half in, half out pursuit of your faith.
Yeah.
If you're not going forward, you're going backwards.
Yeah.
That's what
if you're not going forward, you're playing a game with yourself.
Yeah. I think that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So yeah, it's difficult. It's really difficult. And so that's one instance that I see that negative cycle really playing out in the real world and really affecting young people and older people, but really affecting, I'm seeing younger people who are supposed to have these higher levels of testosterone and they're supposed to have this higher sex drive that pursues them towards the opposite sex so that they can get married, make babies, and pursue a healthy, mature lifestyle.
Yeah. I think the other thing that it makes, I think it's not healthy for anyone, but it makes me extra nervous for just the way our culture is and the things we view and listen to and talk about, because especially for the young people who their minds aren't developed all the way yet. And I'm not a scientist, so I don't know what the effects are, but they cannot be good.
Yeah.
They cannot be good when you have such a young mind and this is everything that you're taking in all the time. That cannot be beneficial to you as you grow and mature, to have all of these false ideas of what a loving relationship should be like. And I'm talking about, sex and just normal relationships.
Right. As viewed in culture. Yeah. And as viewed
as you see
TV.
Everything is so, like I said, everything is so violent and sexualized that, I mean, if that's going to now become your real reality, Do you want to live in that reality?
Right.
And maybe you think you do until you do, and then you realize you don't. And
yeah,
I mean, yeah. I guess I have been thinking about it for like recently, the past few weeks, and just being more and more like aware of it and concerned about it. Yeah. I wish it wasn't so normalized.
Yeah. Well, I think the normalization happens when people stop talking about the ways in which it is hurting someone. I think that's the danger in a lot of things when we stop talking about the dangers of said thing. I can bring up a lot of examples of this. I can bring up the race example. Right now, we're being taught to be hypersensitive to race. This is a new idea. It's not an idea that was promulgated early on in the civil rights movement through people like Martin Luther King, through Malcolm X, through a lot of the thought leaders at that time. It's a new idea, but the problem with it is that it's sending people backwards.
Yeah.
Racially. We're going back to segregated colleges. We're going back to segregated classrooms. We're going back to segregation in our places of conversation.
Yeah.
And it's not talked about in a fair, and it's not talked about in a loving way, where we're talking about how is this going to affect my kids?
Yeah.
How is this going to affect my relationships that I might already have with people of other races?
Well, that's where it really becomes so important with like in your family, like and you and me as parents, and that we do have some control, maybe not over our teenagers because they have phones and or whatever, but our younger children to raise them up and to not let what the world is teach our children. We can teach them that we love everyone,
right,
and everyone's the same. And yeah, we just, whatever they see, we can just explain it to them so that they don't have to be marred by these goggles that everyone else seems to have on. They can see people and say, oh, well, mom and dad think they're all the same.
Right.
We love everyone. So it doesn't matter, because that is how they look at people right now.
Right.
They don't
beautiful.
care about race.
It is beautiful to see our kids, like at church this morning. One of the members of our church is a mixed family of Black and Hispanic, and their youngest son, adores our daughter.
Yeah, it's so sweet.
And it's so funny to watch her be coy and be like, oh, hi again, and he runs up to her and he's like, you're so beautiful.
It's so cute.
You're so beautiful.
It's so cute.
And
I love it.
Oh, he's the cutest kid. They don't see race.
No.
They don't see color.
And I was raised in a home that was not there was no racism, I guess I would say, the real racism of the word. And so I grew up like.
That's because your dad has a Black brother.
Yeah.
Adopted brother.
Yes.
But like.
So I grew up around.
Part of your family.
Yeah. I grew up around different races. I don't even know what to say. They're just other people. Like,
no, but this is
it's just to me, it's so crazy because I'm like, we're making such a big deal over something that I feel like is not a big deal. Like, they're just other people. And actually, honestly, I'm really bad at actually, like, when I see people, I don't usually think like, oh, that person's Spanish or that person's like Puerto Rican or whatever. I'm actually really bad at telling the difference because it's not something that like I think about. And
or should care about.
And because I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if I just don't care. And I just think it's funny. So I'm hoping that our kids will grow up with that same sort of like,
right.
They just look at people as people, and they're not thinking other thoughts. Yeah, that's my little rant about that.
I think it's beautiful because you're coming at it from the place that I think a lot of Americans are coming at this whole debate right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a perspective that we need to be strong, and also just, I love your innocence. And I don't mean this in a negative way at all. We should be innocent to these issues because it's in the innocence that we have humility we can listen to what people have to say. I've desired, after all of the big Black Lives Matter movement and everything like that, to listen more to Black voices.
Right.
I cannot totally understand why I need to, but I'm being told by my countrymen that I should.
Right.
So I'll do it because I'm not an expert on this.
Right.
I don't understand this fully. I need to learn, and I'm humble enough to say I don't know.
Right. We could be missing something. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I think it's good to come at it from the perspective that you're coming at it, where you're just like, I didn't know I needed to care about these things.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was an issue. It hasn't been an issue for me.
Right. Right.
That's great. We should applaud people like you, because that is the goal. The problem is there's a duality happening where we're supposed to end racism, but then we're also supposed to hyper sensitize people to race. These things don't actually, it's a very postmodern idea from what I'm told. I'm not totally versed in all of the ideology behind all of this stuff, but these things from a logical standpoint don't mesh. You can't be hypersensitive to race and also not be racist anymore.
Yeah.
Because the whole idea is, hopefully you don't see race. That was the goal. Hopefully you just see a person. It is an individual. It is a human being created in the image of God, if you believe in that type of thing. And that's it. But now we're being told, no. You have to see it, because you only after you see the person's race can you actually sympathize with their history, with the things that they go through on a daily basis. Now, this is not a nuanced idea, because every individual, going back to the ultimate goal, is different.
Yeah.
And some of the people that might be of this race might have the same lived experience from someone of my race.
Right. Right.
And that's where a lot of these arguments break down.
Yeah, because it's interesting, because as you say that, like, I hear it, and at first it sounds like that might make sense, but then I'm like, but wait, that person, I can't label that person as their group, because
that would be making the group into a monolith.
Yeah. Right. Ow. Sorry.
You okay?
My braces just ripped my cheek. I'm okay.
We suffer through these podcasts for you. Brittany suffers with those braces.
Oh my goodness, that was
I love it.
That hurt. But
Sorry.
yeah, no, I just thought of that.
She starts bleeding out of her mouth. I'm terribly sorry.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, I think that's where we get off, because we want to be sensitive to people, because we do really care about people.
Yes.
But then in that we get carried away, and we're actually going backwards, not forwards.
Right.
And we really should just take every single person as who they are and what their past was like. It's just like, maybe I don't want to make this comparison because maybe that wouldn't be good, but it's like any person that you meet, you get to know them. And then if you find out something about their past,
right,
then you're sensitive to that. So
more importantly, that sensitivity should spark unity through understanding. It should spark the ability for us to either sympathize if we can't understand, or to I don't know what the right word is for this, but basically if we can understand it, to be able to unify with them.
Yeah.
I can't think of a better word than unify. It's a pretty good word.
Yeah.
But we should be able to come together, just like the Me Too movement. We're getting into a lot of things tonight.
Yeah.
The Me Too movement should have been a beautiful thing where all of these women were coming out and saying, hey, sexual assault is real. Harassment is real. Rape is real. All of these things are realities that women deal with on a regular basis. Let's come together and let's be strong together. Let's talk about these things together and strengthen and unify and for the purpose of ending these things, trying to lessen the amount of things, educating men on how to be better.
Yeah.
But instead it gets taken over by negative people that want to use it as a bludgeon.
Yeah, yeah.
They just want to beat men down, which doesn't help them to grow.
No.
It doesn't help them to
Doesn't
develop.
help them
It doesn't
get
help
better.
them to change.
Yeah.
And that's really what's happening the same way with the race debate. It's being used as a bludgeon that's not causing those that you are attacking to want to grow. I'm strong enough that I don't care.
It's not really helping anyone to grow.
Right. I'll grow because I want to grow.
Yeah.
But some people are just so beaten down, they might actually go the opposite way that you want them to. And that's what scares me.
The hypersensitivity, I don't like that, because that makes you aware of race.
Yeah.
That makes you aware and then tiptoey. I hate that.
Yes.
I hate that.
Yes.
And like, we don't want to be tiptoey around each other.
No.
I mean,
No.
that I just think
No. Because you dehumanize in the tiptoeing.
Yes.
And that is a historically prevalent thing.
Yeah.
Once notions are made about a race, a people group, whatever you want to place in that box, it's going to cause other people that do not belong to that to tiptoe around those people, to, when they pass them, think certain things about those people, to blah, 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 whatever. It's not good.
No.
It's not good. And
because then everyone has preconceived ideas, or thoughts about these other people. And then we really are separating people into groups. And then there really is a separation, which is what we are supposed to be, or we should be going away from.
Right.
Not
Segregation is not good. We determined that in the 60s because we were like, we should be together.
Yeah, that's not unified.
Separating people is bad.
Yeah.
But now we want to go back to this to create safe spaces for people that we should be interacting with more, so that we can learn, so that we can grow, so that we can unify, so that we can come together.
Yeah.
You can't see the thing again, something that's incongruent is sympathize with the people that are coming from certain racial backgrounds. Also, do not associate with these people. Leave them alone and give them safe spaces.
That makes total sense.
It doesn't make any logical sense. But you're supposed to just believe.
Yeah.
And so going back to your point about raising children the right way, our children are fully immersed in Black, Hispanic, Dominican is Hispanic, I guess. I don't know. I'm grouping people now. but they're exposed to all of these different cultures, and we're friends with them. We get together with them. We don't talk about race because these are people.
Yeah.
And hopefully our kids will continue to. I didn't know. I always laugh at this story. When I got my first library card, I didn't know what Caucasian was. I think I've told you this story before.
I love this story.
I saw Native American. I didn't know what a Native American was. So I checked Native American because logically, I was born in America.
Right.
My persona was native to America. So I thought I was Native American.
You were native to this country.
And then I had to be told by the librarian that I was not Native American.
So now you know.
I was Caucasian.
You are a separate group.
And I was like, what is Caucasian? I thought that was somebody from New Orleans.
Oh my goodness.
Because it was like Cajun,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
But I was placed into this box and had to be explained to that I wasn't native to this land in which I was born.
Right. Why couldn't have you just said, I am an American or other country?
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know.
Why do they need to know?
But it's the silliness that we get into with all, like, I legit did not know.
Yeah.
Because I was homeschooled. You know, I went to kindergarten and first grade, and I got in too many fights and got pulled. And, you know, my parents decided to homeschool me. So that was homeschooled till high school. And throughout that time, we were exposed to so many different races and cultures and in a community. And I think this is really important. And maybe we'll kind of start to wrap up this podcast here, because I thought of this before we started the podcast too. How this day that we've experienced of such positivity in the world. Personally, you know, just spending time with family and my kids and enjoying life with them. And then the positivity that I see being displayed on social media, you know, a lot of this has to do with community and with family. And it is so, so, so important to, one, focus on your family, but then also find a community that is diverse. Not for the sake of diversity, but for the ability for you to interact with people. I'm not going to name what races of people you should be interacting with. Interact with people, because that's what they are.
Yeah.
And that's one of the beautiful things that really happened throughout my life. And church was a beautiful way for that to happen. Not all churches are diverse. There's definitely churches that are black churches and white churches and Hispanic churches and all kinds of things like that. A good church that has good leadership will be a diverse church, not because they're trying.
I was going to say.
Like, we don't have any diversity or inclusion training at my church.
Right.
And I love it because we have all diversities at our church. And it's so cool. It's so cool. And I've always had that, you know, when I was in a church in New Jersey, same thing.
Right.
You know?
Well, it has to be. So I feel like it does have to do with leadership, but it also has to do with the people in that space to have to see people as people.
Yeah, but it starts with leadership.
Yeah, yeah.
In a community that is like that, even the church that we're a part of right now wasn't very diverse. So I'm saying it really starts with, you know, my dad's the pastor of this church, and he has this mindset. I mean, a black football player, ex-NFL player, married my mom and dad.
That's awesome. I didn't know
That's
that.
the relationship. Well, because my dad's worked in, you know, deep South Mississippi, which was very racist, you know, but had a lot of black people in it. So he's worked in New York City, and he's been around black people all his life, and, you know, has had amazing relationships with people of other races. And that having that kind of at the front and the way that he interacts with people of different races, as you get to see every Sunday, you know, it trickles down into the congregation, how they view a new person.
Yeah.
You know, I've never had a conversation about race at this church.
Right.
And that's so beautiful to me. Like, there's no like, we need to get a black man on stage.
Oh goodness, that would be awful.
We need
if
to.
we had that kind of discussion.
Need to, you know, make announcements or put out a social media post while taking a picture of the Hispanic family.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's never even crossed our mind, and that's beautiful.
That is beautiful.
That's the goal. That's the goal. And speaking of goals, I hope you guys are going to make a goal for tomorrow to kind of bring this full circle for our conversation. What are you aware of in your life right now that needs to be different tomorrow? What things can you put in place? What barriers can you put in place to stop you if it's a negative thing? Or what things can you pursue if it's a positive thing to make sure that thing happens in your life tomorrow? If you can't wait till tomorrow, do it today. It usually is better today. I keep saying tomorrow because that's something you can sleep on, and it's actually very healthy to sleep on a goal, because then you can actually formulate your thoughts about that goal during the night when your mind is actually more active, and then you could come at it with a much, hopefully more positive, hopefully more energetic pursuit the next day. And that's so cool. So what is something in your life that you're going to choose to be better at tomorrow? I think that's so important, and we all are going to choose that. I know we talked about quality time with our oldest son. That's something that we're going to be putting into practice and doing this week. And yeah, I'm going to think about it before I go to bed. Try to think of a new goal. I mean, the physical is something that I'm constantly, I'll kind of just say this because I think it's cool. One thing that's happening in my physical health is that in fitness and whatnot is I am constantly getting bored of the goals and adding to them.
Oh, wow.
Well, no, and
that's impressive.
I think this is natural. I think if you pursue something for long enough, you only want more, especially if you're able to look back and see the results.
Yeah.
You're like, this works.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, for example, like I can't touch my toes. Not proud of it. But stretching is not a part of my life. And it's never really been a part of my life. So something with my physique that I want to change is my flexibility.
Yeah.
You know, I'm weight training, I'm rowing, you know, I'm doing a lot of good things from my physical health, but I am not flexible. So that's something that I've been kind of seeing what people like to do, yoga or nightly stretching routines or whatever it is. I'm kind of pursuing that right now. If you have, and I just wanted to bring that up because if you have something that you've been pursuing, add to it. Try and add to it.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not better yourself, better your life, and have a better future?
It's true.
It's true.
I'm just amazed at you.
Thanks. I'm amazed at you. Let's make this a gooey ending.
Oh my goodness.
We're going to wrap it up here, though, because Brittany is going to fall asleep on me. So thank you guys for listening to this episode of Just Breathing Home Edition. We come out with Just Breathing Home Editions on Mondays. We do Just Breathing with Lauded Lungs on Fridays. And we do have a Just Breathing Clips channel if you want some shortened clips of these podcasts so you don't have to listen to us rant for an hour. before you go, make sure if you're watching this on YouTube that you like, that you subscribe, that you hit the notification bell. That way, you know when a new video goes up. Make sure you leave comments. If you have things to say, don't keep them to yourselves. Put them in the comments. We would love to hear from you. And those that are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure you follow us, subscribe, leave us a rating and review, and we will catch you next time. All right. Love you guys. Bye.